Get a list
things.
of 10 things. Okay.
Yeah, let's do it on camera.
Let's do it. Okay, go. We're live. We're recording right now, so let's do it. Let's go 10 things right now. We'll start this way.
Hi. Okay, cool.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
Introduce me first.
Well, we'll after, but let's do the 10 things. That's the best thing about our show is that we go crazy.
Are we going rogue?
We go rogue. Well, that's our show.
Okay, I'm going to ask you what this is in English and what it is in where I am here in Connecticut. Okay, what's a boot?
A boot?
A boot.
It's a thing that goes in your car.
Oh my God! Yes, you're right. It's a boot of a car. What do we call a sidewalk in the UK?
A sidewalk in the UK? Path? What?
Pavement.
What is it?
Pavement.
Seriously?
Pavement.
Seriously?
Yeah. Seriously. Okay, so we drive on the left. Obviously, that's the right side to drive, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Left is the right. No. Okay. Okay.
No, it's not.
What do we? What do we call chips that you have in a paper? Like the chips you guys eat?
French fries.
No, the stuff in a bag that you have like while watching the game.
Potato chips.
Potato chips. What do we call them?
Fritz?
Crisps.
Crisps.
Crisps. Yeah, you knew that one. Damn. Okay, what do we call shrimp in the UK?
You guys have a different name for shrimp?
We do. I found that out. Seriously. Being very serious.
There's a different name for shrimp?
Are you ready?
You guys had to mess that up?
We call them prawns.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I've heard that too. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And the one that everybody gets, like, how do we say schedule?
Schedule?
Mm-hmm.
How do you say schedule?
In the UK, how do you pronounce schedule?
Schedule? I don't know.
Schedule. Yes.
Schedule?
Schedule.
Schedule. Well.
Mm-hmm. And the thing that I get the most when I'm cooking is, what is cilantro in the UK? It's not cilantro.
Cilantro? What is it?
Come on, then you tell me. I'm quizzing you.
Weed? I don't know.
It's called coriander.
Oh man. You know, I'm like, first of all, thank you. Because you just brought back some heritage, because my family's originally from England.
Yeah.
And, Ashton is a pretty powerful name over there, and Ashton's a part of me. So now you said all that, I have a lot of my grandma references coming back to me.
Well, the British tend to like really is how do we say aluminum back over the pond?
Oh, no, you didn't.
Are you ready? It's aluminium. It's not aluminum. There's no double O in there. It's aluminium.
I love it. Well, let's get started.
Listen over.
Okay, so let's break to our intro and we'll be right back with this rock star. Here we go. Awesome. Well, welcome everyone to the Late Night Restaurant Show. It's kind of late night no, okay. Well, maybe not. Anyway, so I'm going to blow it. It's 11 o'clock. It's late night.
7 p.m.
Yeah, in the UK it is. In the UK. Well, I first of all want to welcome Parveen, the Spice Queen. You are an absolute rock star, best-selling cookbooks, television shows. So you got awards like galore.
Yeah,
and you also are sweet and innocent and everything else, and just amazing. And just thank you for taking the time. And I know you're probably swamped when you're like this level. I know you guys are busy.
Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to be on our show.
Thank you, Jay.
It's our British week. It's our English British week.
I love thank you for the homage to the flag. I appreciate it. It is perfect. And I'm wearing red in keeping with the red stripe.
See? That's good.
Yeah. So you've caught me in between doing 2 recipes, and I'm filming, and I've got a photo shoot and an edit. So yeah, it's a busy day today, but time for you.
Well, the big thing about our show and the best thing that we do, first of all, we're not a radio station, so we try to break every rule there is. Like, as you said earlier, we go rogue. We do that because we really want to be as comfortable with our guests, but also to our listeners to just enjoy these amazing conversations we have with our guests and to learn a little bit about you, what makes you so awesome. And that's really it. That's all we do. There's no hidden secret. There's no hidden agenda. So you got to tell us, okay, who are you? Give us some details. Give us some good juice.
Oh my gosh, details. Listen, Jay, what's the definition of a boring person? A boring person is somebody that just wants to talk about themselves all the time, and all you want to do is talk
really?
No, you didn't miss the end. I didn't land. A boring person is a person who wants to talk about themselves when all you want to do is talk about yourself.
Oh, that's a boring person?
No, people talk about themselves. You're like, so I have to talk about myself. I'm like, yeah, I'm not my favorite subject. I have to say, I'm not my favorite subject. I'm not.
You have an amazing background.
I do. Well, it's my background, and it got me to where I am today into the US and to meet you. But the thing I do and I say all the time when I'm teaching, when I'm cooking, when I'm presenting, when I'm judging restaurants, I'm a restaurant critic and a judge. Don't tell anybody to see me; they'll hide. The thing I say is,
you go in disguise. Do you ever go in disguise?
No,
I just disguised. Do you know what I did? Can I tell you what I did?
Go on.
I'm going to make myself boring here. I'm going to tell you what I did. So I was just at the National Restaurant Association Chicago show, and I disguised not to be the billion-dollar company we are. So people treated me just like a regular Joe, and it was awesome.
You guys say awesome a lot. When I'm doing a restaurant judging, so I'm one of the jobs I've recently procured is I'm a judge at the Curry Awards. So Leicester Curry Awards, Bradford Curry Awards, and these 2 towns in the UK are predominantly sort of like 70-80% South Asian. So curry and Indian food is so popular. So I'm one of the judges, and I was the head judge. So I'm very good at judging food, but I'm a nightmare to take out because I'm so picky at what I'm eating. They call me Picky Parveen. My family call me Picky Parveen because I'm so picky.
Okay, I got to ask you one question, and I'm going to interrupt you, Gloria. That's how I go, because I love talking with people who are so passionate. Do you take your food apart before you eat it? Because my chef does that. Do you take your food? When you get your plate in your restaurant, when you go out for dinner, and before you eat it, do you kind of like dissect the meal to see how it's made? And no? Okay.
Do you actually physically dissect it or mentally dissect it?
Well, physically, because one of my chefs, he would take it apart, and I'd be like, man, just enjoy it. Please stop taking it. Like if it was a burger, he opens the bun, he looks at the ingredients and everything. No, you don't do that?
No, but if I can take a bite of anything, I usually know what's in it. I know how it's cooked, what's missing, how they've made it. So I'm quite good at flavors. Flavors I don't know. I'm quite good at flavors. That's why I'm a judge of food, because I'm an believe it or not, in part of my story is I'm an ex-inspector for education. I had a very, very posh job. And I was at a government.
I can see why you're friends with Christian. Both of you pretty much have done like everything under the sun.
I'm just going to sort my hair out first. Imagine, of all the things, okay, so I was raised as one of 7 children.
Okay.
And we were like the
Big
Asian
family.
Waltons. Do you remember the Waltons?
Yes, I do remember the Waltons.
I love the Waltons, but my brother wasn't called Jimbo. My brother was called Mary Ellen.
I've heard that so long.
I was the middle child of 7. And if you know anything about children and child psychology, which I did later on, is middle children are the loudest and usually the most confident.
Really?
Because, it's called middle child syndrome.
Middle child syndrome. I did not know that.
There's a middle child syndrome. So middle child, I have 6 siblings. I have 3 above me, 3 below me. And so the middle child gets missed out. They're not the eldest, they're not the youngest. So they are usually the loudest. And they fight for their position and fight to get heard. And normally attention seeking.
I was gonna say, I'm starting to figure out what my sister's like.
So middle child of 7, and I grew up with immigrant parents. They left South Asia, left India to come to the UK for work. And a lot of immigrants, that's what a lot of immigrants did. And my father always said, we came to give you guys a better life in the UK. And usually that means better clothing, better education. So, it was a big step from them to leave their hot country with amazing food to come to a cold country where the food was just salt and pepper. Even in the 70s, Jay, there was no garlic used in English food. Nobody used
no.
No.
Oh, God, no. I was raised on that. I was raised on that food, right? The pot roast and the potatoes. And it was just you were lucky if you got salt and pepper.
Pie and mash.
Yes, exactly. Gravy that would hold the gravy that would bend a spoon, not just hold.
I don't know what kind of gravy you had, but yeah. So my immigrant
parents and biscuits. Sorry, I interrupted you, but biscuits.
You have to dip them in the tea.
Yes. So, because oh my God, this is so awesome. So my grandma we'd go over to grandma's for supper. It was like Saturday supper. And go over there and be like, I made biscuits, and then everyone would be like, oh no. Like we'd all go to cringe because either you drenched it in butter, right? Like butter, you cut it and you butter and you warm, like it'd melt and stuff, and then it would be like you could actually chew through it.
Jay, what kind of biscuits were you eating?
Grandma's biscuits were pucks. They were literally hockey pucks. And then, or you used beehive honey on them. And then you dipped it in the beehive honey, which is like totally not good for you. But we were young. Who knew? We didn't care back then anyways. And we had that in the honey, butter. But they were so hard that we'd all go, oh no.
Break your teeth on them.
You'd break your teeth or your gums would be bleeding. But yeah, or pork chops that were so dry, you could not get another ounce of moisture out of them. Yeah.
But the thing is, cooking has changed so much, Jay. So when I'm cooking for my clients, it's food has become international now. So I think 2-3 things have happened. YouTube, the invention of YouTube. So you can Google a recipe in pasta, you can Google a recipe in Mexico or China and see somebody cook a dish. So that has brought the cuisine world now is sort of smaller. You can get most ingredients anywhere. We're flying ingredients halfway around the world, which again, don't get me started about flying ingredients halfway around the world. We should eat local produce. That's gone. There's no such thing as local produce anymore. But for me, it's a good thing because people love Indian food. They love what I can provide. So my background is my mother was an amazing cook. She would complain about my dad, his flatulence. She'd come moan about the house. She'd complain about everything. Never, ever, ever, ever did she complain about cooking a meal for like 9 of us every night. And I realized why she didn't complain, because it was her passion. She was an amazing cook. And my first cookbook is dedicated to her, actually. She never saw it. She passed before I published it, and is dedicated to her memory.
Do you think also that my mom was the same way, she'd have these big meals and stuff. And do you think it was also the time that you were in her, I'm going to say this maybe more visual, like I visually see this, is you're kind of in her nest, like you're at the table, your family's around it. I have all you together.
Yeah. So now listen, Jay, things have changed so much. Now we'll be having dinner and my kids will be like,
yes, exactly. Go to a restaurant. Yeah.
Even with my husband, I'm like, no phones at the dinner table, no phones. But growing up, we didn't have that issue, Jay. We didn't have like mobile phones or, cell phones, mobiles, cell.
Is that what you guys call it over there? A mobile phone?
It's a mobile phone.
No, it's a cell phone.
It's a mobile. I just said mobile.
All right.
Hey, mobile phone.
Either you call it that way or you just aged yourself.
Oh my gosh. It's called, Google it. In the UK, we say mobile.
Okay.
It's not even mobile. It's a mobile. So people say, have you seen my mobile? Have you seen my mobile?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
You're awesome.
Anyway, these are the idiosyncrasies. Anyway, listen. So now I think food is changing so much. I see too much of people not concentrating, not chewing their food, not appreciating their food. We grew up in a time, it was a simpler time. You got your food, you had to eat what you were given, otherwise you went to bed hungry. None of that now. People waste food. So don't get me started on food waste. I think people don't appreciate it. So I grew up with very strict parents. Culturally, but the cuisine that I grew up eating, samosas, chicken biryanis, and lamb masala, naan breads. This is comfort food for me. So I could have English food, pasta, burrito, rice. I could eat any of the cuisine, but when I need comfort, I go back to what I know.
Oh yeah.
Go back to a really soft naan bread with a lovely lamb masala sauce and my children now, they are like, oh my God, my children are, I can't even say it, Jay, my children are 26, 32 and 34 now. I'm old. No, don't tell anyone. When they all live away, but when they come home, they just go back to the default value is, Mum, can we have some hot chapatis, a chicken masala, a samosa? So they go a biryani. So my children go back to food from their heritage. We are losing our culture. We are losing our language. We are losing our dress sense. But as a South Asian person coming from that heritage, we are not losing the love of our food. We're not. We love it more.
I love that. Well, I do agree. And I find that our palates have changed a lot over the years. And I think that's, like you said, the these things in our faces, phones in our faces, the palettes, the things that we're doing to food right now, I think are all changing our profiles. Like, I don't know, and this is just my theory, I don't know if people really believe what real food tastes like much anymore. And I think we have the ability to keep educating and keep pushing that, but I think the general mass doesn't really know what beef tastes like anymore, what true beef tastes like. And unfortunately, a lot of it is based on economics too, right? A lot of the cost of stuff is getting expensive. But growing your stuff out of a garden, it does taste different. And I encourage more and more people to do that.
People have herb gardens. Sorry, they say herbs here, but herbs with a H. So herbs? Herb garden, herbs. Yes. What do you say?
Herbs.
Oh, do Canadians say herbs?
Yeah, we say herbs.
We say herbs here.
Herbs?
Herbs. Anyway, so growing your own herbs in the garden is one way of getting the kids involved. But I was an ex-teacher and I see that so many kids these days do not know where food comes from. They are gobsmacked. Is that an English word or American? Gobsmacked. Gobsmacked? That a chicken breast. That a chicken breast comes from a chicken. They have no idea. Yeah. That potatoes grown in the ground. Sorry, potato. What do you say? Potatoes?
Potatoes.
Enunciate the T. Enunciate.
Potatoes.
So yeah, I think children and have a lack of understanding of where real food comes from, and you're completely right, Jay.
But the thing is we need more people like you to help us, because we're going to lose that. We're up against a good fight here.
It is the way of the world. However, I love that word. However, I think when I was growing up, they were teaching cooking in schools. They're not doing that. It's not part of the curriculum. They're so focused on the academia that they forget about the creative arts like painting, drawing, cooking. And listen, we all got to eat. Yeah. Unfortunately, everything we got to eat is on an app on our phone. And that's where society has changed so much. My son can be having a meal and he'll say, "Oh, Mom, I fancy a dessert. What, shall we get a dessert?" And he'll just click, 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 click. And it's in your door within 10 minutes. And I have to say, it's always rubbish. It's traveled. It's lost its shape. There's cream everywhere. It's a mess.
I love the fact that we also realize when we get it, and then we're disappointed. Like we were expecting it to be really awesome.
Listen, Jay, I'll tell you what happened with my son. He is such a foodie. He's such a good cook. He's my youngest son. And he said, "Mum, I really, really fancy some chicken wings and chips." I said, "Okay." Yeah. Go down to the takeaway and pick up some chicken wings and chips. I said, "I bet you I can make it faster than you can get to the takeaway and buy it."
Did you do it?
Yeah, I did. I won.
Nice. Did you win too?
I did. Chicken wings can take like 20 minutes. It was 10-minute drive to the takeaway, 10-minute drive back. You wait for your food. It's 20 minutes. It's 40 odd minutes. And
didn't Jamie Oliver do a whole bunch of that stuff too?
Yeah, because he's got proof, right? Yeah, and I think and there's another chef, really good chef in the UK called Ken Hom. He had a similar thing where he could make the food quicker than a takeaway. But here's the thing: I think people are lazy now when it comes to cooking. They don't want to bother.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think a lot of people. I think it's more lazy than the fact of knowing how to, because you said earlier, like YouTube. There's cooking things galore out there that make it simple. We have AI now that can pretty much tell you also how to cook things too. So I agree with you. I think it's a lazy part. I think it's the fact that it's too convenient.
It's making us lazy. Way too convenient. And you've no idea what fats, what sugars. And I find it hilarious when somebody gets, I don't go to McDonald's anymore. My kids were little, I would go to a burger place. And you hear somebody can have a Big Mac, can I have this, can I have a Diet Coke? Well, you've got tons of rubbish in the food that you're eating. I mean, McDonald's is not nutritionally the best, but it's convenient and it's quick and people love it because it's so quick.
Yeah. And they play on that, right? And you look at the sugar content, not only in the soft drinks, but it's in their burgers. There's sugar in their burgers. There's sugar in their fries. And like there's the stuff on there. It's not just salt. It's salt and sugar when they put it on the fries. Right.
Really?
So they're getting you. They're getting you to love it. And it is good. It is great. But it's not really. It really is. Who doesn't love a Big Mac once in a while?
Jay, I'll tell you a secret. It's a podcast.
No one's listening, so don't worry.
No one's listening. When I'm catering and I'm doing a Bollywood dinner party, I lay the table. My clients dress up in the saris. We do a whole cultural evening, and I do the food, they plate it up beautifully. Then we have the dessert, and I do a little bit Bollywood dancing.
Yeah.
Then I do. Actually, yeah, I digress. But somebody said to me, well, what's your USP? I'm like, my USP? And she said, you've got to be different. I went, well, I cook Indian food. She went, you've got to be different, Parveen. So I decided to dance for my dinner afterwards. So I do the cooking and then I dance with my clients. And they love it. Yeah, they love it. And I love it too. I don't know what I enjoy more, the dancing or the cooking. When I get home, Jay, what do you think I eat?
Oh, there could even be a series of shows on that. Like, what do you do after cooking all day?
I have a bowl of cereal.
Do you do cereal?
I just have cereal. I've been cooking it, smelling it for like 2 days. I'm exhausted. I don't have time to. So I just get a bowl of cereal with some lovely full whole milk in bed.
Whole milk too.
Always whole. What is this half and half thing I'm hearing a lot of here?
We got 2% here.
So you have 2%, yeah? And okay, here's the thing. What percentage is full fat milk, whole milk?
It's got to be, I don't even know. Good question. 50? 50? I should have Googled it.
You did me right now. Are you kidding? Okay.
I don't know.
2%, I know this. 2% milk. 2% is semi-skimmed, half fat. A whole milk is 4% fat.
Well, we don't call
four.
Right. Yeah, well, we say 4%, but we call it 4% here. We don't say whole.
Okay, so whole milk or full fat milk in the UK, which is 4%, is milk with the whole fat in it. So it's only
question. What's the other 96%?
No, there's milk solids, and there's fat in the milk. So I don't know. We need to ask the cow about that. But cream is about 70, 80. But okay, how fattening is mayonnaise? What percentage of fat is mayonnaise?
Man, all these trivias. I'm usually triviaing you. How bad is mayo? I don't think that mayo is bad for you. I really don't.
Jay, if you get this wrong, you're going to come over here and cook for me.
Bring it on.
Are you ready? Invite me to Canada and come and cook for you.
Okay.
Mayonnaise.
Yes.
Come on, guess. Come on, let's make this exciting. Guess. Go from 5, go up. Come on, Jay, do it.
8.
Carry on, go.
8, 12? 12?
Carry on.
20?
Carry on.
Are you kidding me? 30.
Higher.
40, 50. 50?
Higher.
Like I'm like a auctioneer. 60?
Higher.
70. 80.
Higher.
80?
Higher.
90?
Yeah, it's around 80. 80. Some mayonnaise is around 80% fat. Because here's the thing, I know I make mayonnaise. Mayonnaise is egg yolks with a bit of salt, tiny bit of flavoring and seasoning, and oil. It's 80% oil, and you emulsify the egg with the oil. So I was teaching cooking in France recently. I was in a really beautiful place where Claude Monet's villa is actually in Normandy, and I asked for the chef for mayonnaise, and he laughed, and I said, James, you're laughing. He said, nobody buys mayonnaise in France. We make it here. So I watched somebody mayonnaise, and I was looking at how much oil. I'm like, really? So mayonnaise is the most fattening thing, more than cream, more than full fat, heavy cream. Mayonnaise is extremely full of fat with no nutritional value per se.
Really?
Yeah. Do your own research, guys. You're better off getting an avocado, which is full of good fats. Yep. Put that in a blender with some seasoning, salt, pepper, a bit of lime juice, a bit of chili flakes, blitz that with a bit of oil, make that as a dressing. That's a great dressing.
So mayos that are using olive oil, I was going to ask that question actually, olive oil is going to be way better for you than traditional ones.
The extra virgin olive oil is best because it's the whole ingredient. Anything that's, the less processed it is, the better it is for you. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. And the avocados, but you can substitute everything with
anything white. It's because I'm brown. Yeah. Anything white is a no. Anything brown is good.
I love that. But I it's a really good point because I think a lot of us was raised back to the old food from where we were being raised was white bread.
White bread. So anything, if you're listening to this podcast, you're thinking, what's she talking about? Anything with the word whole. So don't go for brown bread. That's not anything with whole grain, whole wheat is the whole thing. And somebody asked me a little bit trivia. Somebody said, how do you like your bread? I said, I like it brown like my men.
I love it. But is it true that some brown breads are bad? Like if there is some out there?
Yeah, it's white bread with color. I just said it's not the brown bread you need to go for. If you're looking at a healthy diet and you're conscious of the nutritional value of the food you're eating, then it's the whole grain. So look for the word whole grain, whole wheat. So anything the word whole is better for you than because otherwise it's nutritionally, it's as close to the actual ingredient. Things like, I don't know, if you have margarine in Canada, in here, do you have margarine?
Yeah. I think we invented it with you.
I don't know when it was invented, is it the what? But if you
I think it was invented around World War II.
Yeah, because of lack of if you leave butter out on a night and leave margarine, ants and insects and flies, nothing will happen to the margarine. Nothing. They'll not go near it because it's too. Don't quote me. It's two chemicals away from plastic.
So is Cheese Whiz.
What?
Cheese.
What's it? What?
Cheese Whiz. Do you guys have Cheese Whiz over there?
What's cheese? You know, whiz in England means when you urinate.
Apparently they don't use that same name then over there, but over here we call it Cheese Whiz. Cheese spread on top of your toast?
Oh, cheese spread. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but so
you guys don't call it Cheese Whiz.
No, whiz is something else. But my eldest son is a chemical engineer, and I remember at college, you guys call it college. He told me not to eat margarine, so I stopped at that point. And the purer the ingredients, the better it is for you.
I think it was World War II or I that they came up with it. It's like because a lot of the preservatives were created in World War II, right?
Okay. The preservative world yeah. Okay, let's. Are we talking food or restaurants? What are we talking about? We digressed.
What would you like to talk about? Because I could talk. I think we could do like a 12-part series with you because it's awesome. Let's talk restaurants. Let's get into the restaurant world.
There are, you know what, restaurants? Well, my heart goes out to so many of my friends suffered during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
They really suffered. So I'm all for supporting restaurants. And in the UK, the most popular restaurants we have are Indian restaurants. Every city and every town in the whole country
I heard
an
about
Indian
that.
restaurant. Yeah, we have.
I heard about that.
Yeah. People go out for a curry like a Friday night. The pubs have curry nights. Even the Queen, God bless her heart, Queen loved her curry too. Our Queen used to love it.
You know what's interesting by that is that because I just heard this because it used to be fish and chips, wasn't it? That was the pub thing that I heard.
No, curry's overtaken it. You know,
I know curry's overtaken is what someone told me. Yeah, I heard about this.
It's called the Asian invasion.
It's all
Asian invasion. Awesome. South Asians. Asian invasion. Yeah, so curry is so popular in the UK, and it's part of the culture. So, for example, here in the US, what I'm seeing is pizza joints everywhere. And burritos and tacos. So in the UK, tacos and burritos
very regional though. Very regional.
Is it?
Yeah, like in Canada, we have certain areas where it'll be very strong within like pizza. And then you have some areas where it's very strong in seafood. And like it's more, I would say it's very regional here.
Yeah.
In the States, it's probably a little bit, but they're bigger regions, a lot more people, but it's probably more regional. And where you are, pizza for sure. Like I would say more in the part of Texas and stuff, you're probably going to get more into your burgers, you know, those kind of things down there. Your proteins are higher and you're not more or less like your deli meat, your Italian influence into the New York area.
Massive Italian influence, but we have that in England.
Incredible.
But I'll tell you a joke. So there's a young boy and he goes to Rome, to Italy with his mother, American boy. And he says, look, Mom, they have pizza here too. I think it's become such a part. It wasn't that funny, was it? A dad joke. It's such a part of the culture now, I think, pizza. But the thing about food is cooking good food. Let's go back to what I do, which is cooking good food. Yes. It's all about really good ingredients. But unfortunately, it's a dying art. So the reason I'm here with my really good friend, Christian, who's a really good friend of yours, is to introduce people to the flavors I grew up with, Indian flavors.
So I can ask you questions. I want to ask you a whole bunch of questions.
Go on.
So what's that moment? I always say this to my guests. I don't know if I asked Christian this when he was on my show, but it's funny because someone else talked about it the other day. I call it your pause moment. What's your pause moment? Yeah, it's a pause moment. So do you ever watch movies when the main actor has this moment in the movie where the camera focuses on them and then they flip the camera around and they look at what they look at and it's all slow motion. And they have this moment of, they're almost like in the tranquility, like they're in they found their place in the world kind of thing, or they find this moment. I call it a pause moment where everything just stops. The world slows down. What's that like for you when you cook?
I think for me, the pause moment was at a moment of epiphany. Is that right? Epiphany when I realized, what's life about? What is this? What's going on? What's the meaning of life? Really deep meaning. And that's when I got married, had 3 children. I was working as a kindergarten teacher. Then as an inspector for education for Ofsted, I was in the realm of education. That's why I found it was so easy to teach on camera, because I'm an ex-teacher. And life was busy, and then life stopped and everything went in slow motion. I got a tumor. And knowing that I was that ill and coming out of theatre thinking, why me? Do I deserve this? Why me? I'm a good person. Why me? It wasn't a pause moment, but it's when everything just stopped. I thought, okay, what am I doing here? What's my life purpose? And the problem was my life purpose and my passion were not the same. They were very different. And I never had the confidence to think, okay, I can cook as a living, as a job, because I'm not a trained chef, but I have the passion, the know-how, the knowledge to do it. And I remember coming out of surgery because I actually thought I was going to die. I was ready to, like, this is it. It was such a, anyway, it was not easy.
No,
and I
didn't, not at all.
And I didn't think I deserved to be that ill. And I remember thinking, why me? And coming out of surgery, seeing my husband, First of all, morphine is great because I was like, hi, I'm fine. And
yes,
he said, Parveen, he says, welcome back. He said, don't ever do anything to stress yourself out to this level. Do what you love. I said, but I love cooking for people. And then he said to me, you should do it then. And that was my moment.
That was your pause, eh? That's when it all kind of clicked in.
Yeah.
Wow. I wonder sometimes that the world, or however way we look at it, does those things to us for those moments that we turn into a positive, right?
Well, the thing is, though, Jay, we're so busy running and we're so busy chasing the next thing. And I felt like a little hamster on a wheel going round and round and round, my little wheel, thinking I've got kids, homework, dance lessons, football. I'm a wife, a mother. I didn't have time to be ill. And just being ill made me just stop and think. And that's when I thought, what am I doing here? What am I doing?
Do you think sometimes that COVID happened to us to do that to the world, in a sense, to slow down for a minute?
I think COVID taught us that a lot of people hated the people they lived with.
Well, it made us stop. And like in the restaurant industry, I think a lot of people had that moment too. And we see this today, like a lot of people changed careers. There was this whole change. It really rerouted the industry a lot.
Yeah, massively. I was so, it just made, I don't think it was a pause moment. I think it was a terrifying moment for a lot of people. Yeah. So many people I know in the industry lost their jobs. So I would never go, it was just horrendous. And I did as much as I can to support my friends in the industry, because let's get this right. Running a restaurant is not easy. It is not easy. No. It's the most toughest job, putting a smile on the face for the customer, managing your staff, paying your bills, trying to make a living. It's probably what I think that when the hospitality, probably the toughest industries in the world. And people, the patrons, the guests sitting in a restaurant, they haven't got a clue. They haven't got a clue what goes on behind the scenes. So I think it was a tough time. I don't think it was a pause time. I think it was people just being resilient. But the restaurant trade is one of my favorite trades because I'm a restaurant critic. So I couldn't work if I wasn't doing that. But here's the thing. I never go out to an Indian restaurant to eat. No. Christian said, there's a great Indian here. I went, really? He said, there's a great Indian. I went, really?
No. You don't do that. I made that mistake once with a friend. Yes. She's like, no. We don't do that. You're right. I forgot about that. But I find COVID, I say this because I remember doing hundreds of shows through COVID, and to see what people are going through, it was heartbreaking. We did a show through Taste of Edmonton, which is a restaurant event here in Edmonton. And we did a show talking to restaurateurs that couldn't be at this event because everything was shut down. And to see them dressed up for that moment, for 20 minutes on a show with us, because our shows are all video based, to get dressed up in an empty restaurant was heartbreaking. It really was, because for me, the restaurant industry saved me. It saved I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the industry. And that's from a small age kid, growing up in a house of chaos, of abuse and everything. That the restaurant was the place that was the safe place in my life. So I tell this to, I don't know if you've heard this, but when I go into any restaurant today, no matter if it's a fast food to a sit down restaurant, I feel safe. It's my safe place. Any restaurant. It's so cool. So that's why I give back to the industry by telling the stories of restaurants, talking to everyone that influences and supports them, because it saved me. So when I see people that are hurt in this industry through COVID, it was killing me. And that's why, when I remember those moments and I see those people, and then, we did a show in person last year for the first time, actually physically seeing them, it was emotional. It was like, oh my God, I remember when you were sitting in your restaurant empty, because these are people that they're not making millions of dollars.
No,
First of all, let's get that out of the way.
For sure are not. They are not.
It's definitely not. They're not making millions.
No.
And they work incredible hours. and they are doing the best they can do with the least amount of support that they have, and they're trying to get help, and they just don't have the time. They're working like 12, 15, 16-hour shifts, and they're trying to please everyone, not only their staff but their patrons. And they're working in harsh environments. Ever worked on a line in a restaurant, and plus hot weather, and you're on there, and it's not paradise. And then you have staff problems, and you have mental illness problems, and then you have alcohol problems and drugs and abuse and everything else. And they are supposed to put on a happy face all the time to everyone on the other side of those doors. On the other side of those doors, right?
Yeah, I think for me, your safe place is a restaurant. That's a lovely story, actually, Jay.
It really is. Like you have like even if anywhere today, we'll go into a restaurant, everyone's like, "Wow, you totally look comfy." Yeah, because I slept in booths when I was a kid, and I wanted to make my parents stay longer because they didn't fight when we were at the restaurant.
Oh,
so I would sleep in the booth, and I'd be like, "Can we get another drink?" And drink more, drink, have coffee. And, we never got dessert. They always had to have but if they stayed longer in the restaurant, it was Fridays and Saturdays. You never got a Sunday because it was at grandma's. But it's Fridays and Saturdays we were good. And then because it was a safe place. So I tried to make them stay as long as I want. So my whole career in the industry, and I've been in 30 shows about me, in the 34 years, is about giving back to the industry that really is my safe haven. So I have a personal connection. I don't do this for the fame, the money, and all this other stuff. I do it for the fact that it's my safe place.
Oh, Jay, that's a beautiful story. But I think the reason you are so in tune with restaurants, it is your safe place because it's a psychological thing for you.
Yeah.
And it's all from here. It's from your heart. Mm-hmm. And that's why it shows. That's very sweet. I feel anything I'm going to say now is going to be shallow.
No. God, no.
For me, the safe place is kitchen. I could be annoyed with my husband. I could be shouting at the kids. I could have a trauma. So the safest place, when I'm happy, I'm in the kitchen cooking. When I'm sad, I'm cooking. When I'm creative, I'm cooking. And I lock the doors. I shut the door. I have a little radio. I put my hair, put on my apron, and then get lost in the art of creating a dish. And once I'm cooking, I feel at home. And that probably reminds me of my mother, who was she wasn't the happiest person in the world. She was an orphan. She didn't have any parents. And she was a really good mom. But I think her safe place was the kitchen, where she was creating. So I knew when she was cooking, she was in a good place, and I wasn't going to get told off or shouted at. So I sort of residual good feelings, vibes from her being in the kitchen. And I am. And the kids know when I'm cooking, mom's fine. Mom's in a good mood. I have a cup of tea. Remember, I love tea. I have a cup of tea. The radio's on. And I'm happy because I'm doing what I love, and it doesn't feel like a chore. So that's my happy place. That's my safe haven. That's where I feel I belong.
Well, we have to wrap up today because I could probably talk to you. Well, I know we're just getting started, warmed up, but we'll have you back because you're incredible, and we haven't got really into your story as much, and I really do. But I want to make this like a few part series because I think you're incredible at what you do, and can people learn more about the Spice Queen?
Yeah, they can. So my name, Parveen the Spice Queen, was given to me by a newspaper, actually.
Really?
The reason I'm called the Spice Queen is, Jay, that was my first business. We didn't talk about my story, but we will next time, is I had a range of spices. So I had like a curry kit. You could have little recipe cards and have the spices. So I would measure out the spices and roast and grind them in little packets. And I got a job on like a shopping TV channel.
Really?
That's how I did TV. So I had like 10 years in front of the camera learning how to do live TV and cook. So that's my background. And the Spice Queen title was given to me by a newspaper. And I thought, that rhymes with Parveen. So I sort of...
Serious?
Yeah, it was my newspaper called me Parveen the Spice Queen. And it's now, I've branded, it's my name, it's my logo. So Parveen the Spice Queen, Instagram, Facebook. By the way, I have no PA. I answer all my own messages. I have a YouTube channel. You can watch me cook on my YouTube channel. And I have a website, Parveen the Spice Queen. So yeah, you can contact me and I'll get back to you. I promise.
Right. I always find these moments are so special and stuff. So
don't you want me to take it to Canada because you didn't guess how much mayonnaise was?
Hey, that was my trick. It was a trick to get you here.
Actually, I'm going to go look at the jar now, but I know it's very high. Maybe it's not as far as 80. Maybe it's 78 or 75.
Okay, if it's lower than 78, you have to come to Canada and we'll cook together.
I would love to come to Canada. So I think for me, coming to America, meeting Christian, who I've known for 5 years, I never thought it would happen. So it's just a dream come true to be here. And teaching people about Indian cooking is my mission. It's my mission.
Well, I just want to thank you, for spending the time with us, and we're going to have you back. And when you go back home, we'll have you, because we're doing shows over in London, England right now. And we definitely want to have you on, and we'll work around the time schedules and stuff.
Yeah.
But I just can't thank you enough for being so awesome, so incredible. Your stories are just incredible. So can't thank you enough for spending the time with us, and all
You're
the best.
Welcome. Yeah.
All the best, okay?
And thank you for sharing your story. I feel honored. I'm really honored.
Hey, I don't share that too often with too many people.
Yeah, I know, but you just did. So.
I want to thank you, and to everyone else, you got to check out the Spice Queen. I love your brand as well. I think it's brilliant. So all the best, and we'll talk soon.